Hey, I'm Rich. I build stuff. This is part 7 of my B-17 build playlist. So, right at the end of the last video, I grew a brain cell and remembered I had a 3D printer so I can print out, like, copies of little curvy things like this. Or, say, I don't know, bomber controller bits or something on those lines. But to do that means that I need to have some dimensions as to what exactly this is. So, I'm going to do that first, right now, before I even do all the fun computer modeling stuff that I capture with other software. Here we go. So first, I'm just going to get rid of some little nubbins and nudgets and whatever.
I wish the chair was emo so it would cut itself.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... and change, also not quite 8. Let's see. And if y'all are thinking, now I think I see 7 point. Yeah, wait, no, wait, hold on, no.
Measure twice, cut once, right?
I think it's 8.4. If you're wondering, wait, metric, aren't you from America, Rich? What about the fractions? Yeah, listen, whenever and wherever I can, I use God's units, okay? Unfortunately, that's metric.
5-minute rant excluded for brevity.
So this is like a really rough technical drawing. These are, you know, my dimensions I'm taking off. 9.9.
Gotta know the dimensions to put them in the program.
I'm going to assume that this is lined up there. That's... okay, that'll work. 8.4. 1.84. You see what I mean by crappy technical drawing? Yeah, because if I were actually doing a technical drawing, you'd be out here with arrows. This would be up. Yeah, I would do this very differently if I were being... I'd use software if I were being all professional about this. But I don't have to, because, well, it's my YouTube channel. Okay. Right, yeah, 6.62, yep. That's about right, yep. Sweet. Cool. And then the radii, I'm just going to guess. I'm going to guess the radii. Probably make it easier. Alright.
I think it gets 0.5 because that's my IQ. I like metric. What can I say? It's great.
Alright, now that's modelable.
And here we go. So this is going to be using that CAD program I mentioned. Now, I'll tell you why I went with this particular one instead of my usual on shape, you know, in the next not time-lapsey bit. But for the meantime, yeah. I've actually used CAD software for quite a while. They're all the ones I've used are kind of similar. It's not Blender. It's different than Blender. I tried to learn Blender. It just didn't quite click with me. But yeah, so with this, what I did is I made a sketch of my shape. I placed a bunch of construction geometry as what you see all the weird red symbols other than the dimensions. And then what you'll do is you can take that and tell it to extrude the shape, or pad it, I guess is what FreeCAD calls it. And yeah, then you start selecting flat faces to add drawings to or whatnot, and you go from there. You know, using the dimension, you know, making sure your dimensions work and everything else. And it's a viable program. I do get good result with this, but I will say that it's not the most intuitive program, I guess. Probably just because I've used other programs so much in my life. Yeah. Me, the CAD jockey. This is why I'd never be a horse jockey. I'm way too sedentary as a CAD jockey. I mean, even I think that'd be animal cruelty. And that's saying something. Anywho, so yeah, there I go, adding some of the final cuts to this shape. And then we go ahead and learn about the 3D printer and why I chose FreeCAD in this non-time-lapse section.
Alright. Hope y'all stuck with it after that whole CAD run-through. Yeah, I figured I'd try, you know, my hand at using that FreeCAD software. The reason being is, if possible, I want you to be able to do this kind of stuff at home. So if there's a free open source software that I can use to do stuff, I'm going to try and use it. Preferentially, if possible, to other ones that are freely available and you can easily get for, you know, not any money.
that is besides the point. So this is an old Anycubic Photon resin tank. Looks like we're still good to go. I'm just wiping it down to try, you know, get it all as nice and good as possible. You'll also notice that I actually need a good place to put this. I'm gonna have to put this in a trash bag for right now. Ideally, the ideal thing would be I have a separate, segregated storage for hazardous waste, and I have like this, I call this company to come and provide certificates of safe disposal and all that, but I'm a regular guy. You see this in the background? This is like just jury-rigged, block the light out so we can all see, and I haven't done it from that way yet. Not fully. This is like bargain, you know, this is, you know, basement to the bargain basement tinkering. Alright? Cool. Alright? We all understand? Even if things go viral, this is probably going to be it for a while, in part because we all could stand to learn some bargain basement tinkering crap. Yeah, not gonna lie, inflation's just, it's gonna suck. What I'm doing here anyways, besides scrapping inflation, is I'm zeroing that printer. So it's got that Z-axis that moves this thing up and down, you might see it here. And basically what I do is I take the thing and I bring it down on it, press it on that piece of paper, and I just micro adjust it till the paper is squeezed. Alright, so it's been a little while, the printer is done and dripping along. Let's see what we've got printed, but first I gotta go ahead and put on some new gloves because I might as well turn off this fan to the outside. Because the scary thing is done printing and making scary paper, but resin's scary. Yeah, seriously, resin is no joke. Wear gloves. The dissolved alcohol you clean it with will dissolve it and carry it into your bloodstream and could really, really end you. So wear gloves around this crap. Okay, great, thanks. To me, this looks like we got some seats. Seats that we gotta cut free of them supports. Actually, I don't want those to email because then they would break the print.
Alright. Now to go ahead and clean some of those, the surviving resin-printed parts.
I lost one to the abyss that was the floor. As you see, I'm printing and cleaning here and working the airbrush. Yeah, it eats my photo etch too, irritatingly enough.
Alright. So, figure I have a nice fun view here. I think we can, we can still see what I'm doing, so that's good. So yeah, I just primed these and I'm kind of, just trying to wipe off a bit of the excess and stuff. What I'm seeing is that this is a very, you get this rough kind of texture because of the layering and the 3D print. Now I can choose to ignore this, relying on the, people looking in are going to be a bit, there's going to be enough clutter there that's going to obfuscate these details. Or I can actually go ahead, use this kind of unifying coat that's now showing me everything that needs more smoothing and then just smooth it. What's the classic joke of this channel? Yeah, I'm feeling lazy. I don't work that way. I'm gonna grab some sandpaper then now.
And here I do some sanding, for a brief bit, get it nice and good. Then you'll see me painting it up a bit. And, well, actually, no, that footage got corrupted, so you don't see me painting. You just see me using super glue, the world's worst glue, called crazy glue because it'd be crazy to think it works. And then I do some photo etch folding, and then I pontificate on solder or glue.
Alright. Decision time. Where are we? Okay, I know where you're pointing now. Let's bring that there, and that there. So, I can just use this in my magnifier. That'd be really smart. I could put super glue here. And then hopefully that, is nice. Or I could actually solder it together because it is brass and it will work. Because the brass is like majorly copper based and stuff. Huh. Guess if I wanted to do it that way, I should have done these together before the initial bending. Actually, wait a minute, they could have had the thing come up and down or something, yeah. All the stuff I think of after the fact,
I go the solder route. You'll see all this nice fixturing, you'll see all this, this nice asbestos board, or I guess it's refractory tile, that I got under it so it doesn't melt. I have that nice fancy hot air solder gun because it just barely shorts out my, circuit breaker. And I do all this stuff, and I prime it, of course, after. But I do that because I hate super glue just that much.
Alright, so you see from the instructions, just really quick, I'm supposed to put this thing on top of this rigmarole that I've just primed. And looking at this, you can see that it's mostly a silver color. So I've got a silver here, but I don't know, it looks a little, I don't know, bright, and I'd like it a little more muted somehow. Well, I guess it'll work. I like gray, like a gray or something. I'm sorry, I'm having... I know. No, I'll mute it by actually adding white, because it's like, it'll make it more like a gray that sparkles, like a slight effervescence sort of deal. That'll probably be the best way, which means I need white paint.
Look, I'd make a joke about paint colors and whatnot, but, given today's climate, that is a horrible idea. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna point to that hornet's nest, you know, maybe point some bits of my anatomy towards it and run and hope I'm faster than Usain Bolt. Guess it's not going to be that case, so that thing's going to swell, but enough putting nasty images in your head. So you just saw me there, that little photo etch thing kind of folded up that I put some, that was in two pieces, and I put a bit of gloss paint on. It was just gloss paints to mimic the glass. And it came in two pieces because I'm pretty sure the maker of the photo etch detail kit, I think it was Edouard, wanted you to do something like that. He literally says it in the instructions. I know that's what they wanted you to do. And the thing you just saw was me starting a kind of fire extinguisher thingamabit. But yeah, so you'll see I've already done a bit of putting photo etch in place, and here I am, cutting and folding even more photo etch using a jig, because if you want to get good straight flat edges in photo etch, you do want to use that jig kind of thing. Although do be aware that you can get it wrong with the widths of certain edges, and then you get a problem. But that's besides the point. This time lapse is almost done, and you're going to hear me talk more in normal speed. Enjoy!
Alright. So, you saw me just add some stuff that's fuselage. I gotta add some stuff up here too. So, alright, I guess I gotta go do that, huh? Alright, so first there's a black thing, and there's also a silver guy I gotta add up. That's gonna be after some other little bits. I'm gonna first break out the hand paints that I'm gonna need. Alright. I'll need white because there's a med kit. Black has been put somewhere. There it is. I gotta get a better way to store my, you know, pieces of model in progress but not currently being worked on. Organization, kids, it helps. Alright, so trying to get that little cover thing onto this frame is to make the levers that were over here. Alright. So, this is the resin printer I, had. But Rich, it's still right here. Yeah, well, I did a dum-dum. I filled up the vat and failed to take into account that the, you know, platen comes down and displaces volume and will spill resin. Alright, so all the wife accepts getting at least the new resin printer. Grumble, and shriek. I wanted 2 new printers, but, you know... Alright. So it looks like in order to see these kind of gauges and boxes, I gotta move this thing backwards a bit.
Or maybe out. I don't know. I guess the easy thing would be just to leave this there. I don't know. Alright, so I did a little test fitting of this in here, and I noticed that this little instrument, whatever widget this was, didn't fit in good. And plus, you could also see the top of it. So what I've done is I've added a little cover here. I'm going to paint that black and try to slough that back in there. You'll also notice, and I might argue it might be a little premature for me to do this. There's really no other good time to do it, that I've glued this in place. Now, I've still got good access to everything, so I'll be able to, finagle pieces into position. But I did that to kind of have this sort of better structurally laid in, and to know where all this is going to go at the end, Alright, so I'm going to go ahead then. I'm just going to take this and try to slough it in place. Alright, so time to put this into position, I think. See if it'll, look okay, and then I may have to still paint it a little bit just to finalize things in the very near future, but at least get that in there as best I can. Maybe it'll... Or I can just do that and have it be there. That could work nicely. So, just so it'll look better later when I do put everything together, I'm just affixing this with some sprue goo. I'm going to have to cut these little strands loose at some point, but there's some sprue goo. And my thinking behind that is it'll, add grip, because it's got the extra solvent in it, but also it'll add some strength. Although now I got to think of how do I hold this together correctly so it actually stays put. Looks like I'm staying here for a bit. And this is the part where I probably should start, crying and questioning life choices, but that would require introspection, wisdom, the capacity to learn, the capacity to wonder how I'm going to edit this so that it looks like I'm actually staying upright, but not in that annoying TikTok form factor. So once again, I'm using the power of sprue goo to reinforce a joint to keep a bit of plastic right where I want it. The unfortunate bit is that now I have to hold it in place while it all dries and such. Up, come on, get back there, You were out doing okay till you did that, you prick. Come on. No, either way, alright. And I'll have to obviously hit it with some glue now too, because I just did a dum-dum and set the thing off. Well, that's a good thing I got plenty of glue.
Dum-Dum, the action, not Dum-Dum, the bullet, unfortunately.
Alright, so as you can see, I've glued this in. I've moved some bulkheads around, and it's time for a bit of a test fit on this other side here. So as carefully as I can, don't break nothing, keep everybody as well aligned as we can get it. No, we barely clear. We barely clear. You know what? I'll call that workable. Alright, sufficient it is then. Alright, there we go. Hopefully that and that. But yeah, as you can see, this also just kind of flops right into place, which is great. Now I'm still going to have to play some games, bend some things, tweak some things, make it want to sit better than it does. I might have to actually even stretch this out just a little bit to match stuff better. Well, there's a bunch of ways to do this. There's the other way is that I could, well, first I got to shift a few things around internally, I think. That'll add give it some better wiggle room. Well, it fits great on one side, but not the other, so if I just try to stretch it out, that might do it. There's a bunch of ways. I am going to work a lot to make this seam line much more, appropriate.
So you'll see me doing a little thing, not just with the, fuselage there, but also you'll see me affix some magic sculpts to that little photo etch piece that I took off. I explain that more fully later, but it is an important trick that I've learned to do for things that just need to be bonded, but can't really bond nicely because of the shapes involved. And I explain that again here.
So as you can see, I had to reattach this. I did the trick with the, you take your magic sculpt, you take your surface, and you have super glue on the ends of the magic sculpt. So the magic sculpt gets sticky and cures the bond of super glue, but it conforms, so you have that surface area that holds everything up. Then I'll have to go paint this all again, and then try to find some way to hide some of these details or make them look a little better. I'll probably try to do some wires or something. But either way, ooh. Well, yeah, I'm going to have to paint a bit more on these as well, just to make them more convincing. But, oopsie doodles. That's going to be it. That'll be in a little bit, not just right now. Sweet, okay.
Right now I work on one of those nose guns. I try to use some of the nice, photo etch stuff, and I lose a crosshair. Gravity, the bane of photo etched parts, small things, and drunken guys barely able to walk in a straight line.
So I was using this yesterday to blow off some, try to blow off some excess alcohol from this little test print of my new 3D printer. And, it, unfortunately seems like some primer and whatnot has once again gummed up my mechanism. So this is going to become a kind of the tear down video I hate doing, but seems I got to do every so often, you know, because life and whatnot. Yep. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Maybe. Let's see. Is that perfect? Great.
And of course, a quick, unattended, unwanted tear down of the airbrush. Basically, I pull out all the fluid-touching parts, I chuck them into an ultrasonic bath, and I run the ultrasonic bath when it's full of thinner. I use the regular Mr. Hobby thinner for this because the regular stuff is cheap, and I use it for all the cleaning. Also, I text the wife there. I might have to try to go back and block that out with something just to maintain privacy and whatnot. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I'll have to do that. Oh, great, I have to do more editing. Whatever.
Alright, so yeah, I'm pretty sure I got these from one of those cheapo companies. You know the type, sells on Amazon. You can tell that it's not a manufacturer from, say, the US, like the name's kind of, poor English and all that, but the product fundamentally works and works. This thing's been around for a few years and it served me reasonably well. Well, it heats up like a mother though. This is getting pretty hot. I'm not sure if it's some exothermic reaction, of the thinner to like the, paints. I doubt that, but stranger things happen. But what I think it's really like something about the electronics in here, right? Now I view this as a feature. I'm pretty sure most sane people would view it as some kind of fire hazard. But if I'm in the room with it and it starts getting wonky, well, I can chuck it right out the front door in like about half a second, 2 seconds. Well, it might be worth, or maybe I should get a fire extinguisher in here. I don't know.
Nah, throw it outside, pollute the ground, cause the air to get even warmer. Anywho, so what I'm doing now is, you see I'm cleaning my airbrush with the Kim wipes and just drying off all the excess thinner, which at the end of this I'll pour back into its bottle so I can use it again and again. I'm basically going to use that thinner until it is well and truly beyond dead. But that's besides the point. Alright, back to it.
Now, I know this mold was probably made in like the 60s or the 70s or something. So they weren't doing today's, quality control. They weren't, they didn't have necessarily today's precision whatnot. I mean, yeah, they got people to the moon, but still, and yeah, these kits were probably a lot better when the molds were new. But I've said it once in other places, I'll say it here. Revell kits are about as flashy as a stripper. Actually, no, they're about as flashy as a stripper when the bills need to be paid.
Yeah, so to remove flash, cut off the mold lines, run sandpaper files all over the surface of the model, not the stripper.
Then after that, we'll fill in the holes in the chairs with a white substance like that. Yeah, in the chairs, not the strippers. What are you thinking? And yeah, there we go. And then I'm just doing a bit more of cutting things up, you know, carving it down, getting rid of the flash, and evening out the parts. And again, filling in the holes with the white substance.
Yeah, I figured I'd at least glue both these together and try to paint some things up, make sure stuff matches and just starts getting assembled before the end of the video. I did film outros. I was like, yeah, nah, I just don't feel like I quite did enough, you know? You ever get that? Anyhow. So now I'm just trying to hold this thing together, hoping that the solvent-based glue will do its thing and do a good job of it.
And then after that, we go and fold up the map cases, which I think I also solder and then sand down.
How to know you're running right at the upper limit of your circuit breaker. Lights flickering, and your soldering iron blow air thingamabit shit wouldn't turn on and keep going until you turned off your cell phone charger and the space heater.
So as I mentioned before, I just try to smooth out the thing as much as I can. That little kind of wick-looking copper thing was a desoldering wick. And not super effective, but not too terrible. Maybe I just not using it right. And then of course I prime the chairs up. And then after priming them, I paint the things. I also paint up the machine gun as well. And that's what I'm doing here. So, yeah. The reason by the way, I paint these things in advance and before putting them into the model is because that's the part of that, you know, I guess you could say religious war that I'm on. I paint things before I put them in the model so that that way they stay, I can get to all the little nooks and crannies and everything. So yeah, there's that. And then as you can see, I try to match the green of the photo etch kit you see there on the chair so that, you know, I can go ahead, I can put it in, you know, then I cut everything out, try to fold things up a little bit, as well as that I put the little map case guys on as well. And then I realized, and I'll mention it in the next time-lapse thing, there's just a little gap and it's bugging me. But I do think of a way to fix that.
Alright, so these are like the nice little seat cover type things, you know, that came with my little photo etch detail up set. And what I'm finding is that you get this little kind of gap thing going here. And I, for one, do not like that. And while we can joke about standards and all that as much as we like, at the end of the day, standards don't mean much if you don't try to uphold them. So, some paint. I want to see if I can't fill that in with something that looks almost close. Now this to me looks like almost yellow. Not quite this yellow though, but definitely not quite this greenish that I've concocted previously. Take a look and see. It has a greenish, this has a greenish tint to me. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, you might not see it when it's inside the model, but I'm going to know it's there. It's going to bug me. And I have a tendency of, I really want to try to, quote unquote, as I think of it, maintain the illusion that you're looking at this physical object. So yeah, anywho, enough of my silliness.
Nope, never enough silliness. Just look at the music. Anyway, so what I do in this time lapse is I take the Tamiya white putty, or maybe it's gray in this case, but I mix it with a couple of paints that are actually the Tamiya paints. Or actually, no, I did it with a Vallejo, I guess. But I do it so that it'll all mix in, blend in, all that nice stuff. And then it'll kind of fill in those gaps and kind of look as natural as I could control it to be. So there's about that. Alright, time for the outro.
Alright, so the test fit looks nice. See if I can get these to kind of cooperate. I don't want them to stay super strong in there, though. I just don't want them to, like, you know, cause trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of super glue because in my experience, believe it or not, super glue is not a very strong bond. I mean, I'd rather use, like, you know, poster putty or something, but I don't have any on me. I should probably go get some or something. But, there we go. Just adjust my little heater in this, you know, shop area just because it's... And then I'm going to put this on this one. And that's going to go in there.
great, right? That's like that. It's worthy of nothing. I'm still gonna have to tweak some of the stuff there. You know, just to, you know, tweak the spacing of the legs a bit, just so that they, you know, better support, better interact with everything else. But and exactly in there too for me, please. Yes, great. That actually is starting to look pretty good. All right. I'll even, you know, get a little, loosen this thing up just to get an actual closer look. Hopefully I don't pull the cord out, but there you go. There's that. There's the gun as well. You'll see I don't have it, like, linked up, you know, into its side yet. I'm going to do that later on. Yeah, I was going to end this earlier, and I'm like, you know what? No, that just didn't seem like quite, you know, a good enough endpoint for me. So I figured at least this way, you know, there's a little something to show for the trouble. But, besides the point, I am Rich. I build stuff. Thank you for watching my Part 7 of my B-17 build playlist. And, yeah, alright. Other than that, guess it's time for the YouTube dance of, like, share, subscribe, hooray! Alright, peace out for now.